The year 2020 has been somewhat eventful to say the least. One of the hot topics, in fact, has been racism sparked back up by the killing of a black African American by the name of George Floyd through police brutality. That provoked an uproar across the United States and protests around the world against violence done to minorities via law enforcement officers. The Black Lives Matter movement was founded in 2013 in response to the acquittal of the murder of another African American, this time a teenager by the name of Trayvon Martin. This movement was brought to the forefront again this year with the George Floyd tragedy. However, there seems to be some misunderstandings about what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about, so I wanted to take a moment to explain a few things without having to dive into politics. It's apparent that All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter movements are counter movements that were launched in response to the Black Lives Matter one. It will look like some people are feeling left out and feel the need to reassert that Black lives are not the only ones that matter. Well, okay. There are specific problems that are happening in the African American communities that is not taking place in the other ones. Therefore, we actually have legitimate issues. Black Lives Matter doesn't mean other people's lives aren't important, but rather it means that Black lives, which seems of no value to white supremacy, are also important. In fact, when we replace Black Lives Matter by All Lives Matter, it shows instead how we are not understanding structural racism and how systemic racism operates. All Lives Matter may also be seen as racist, something used as a way to ignore the Black Lives Matter movement that is already about liberty and justice for all. This was well illustrated in a cartoon that I saw on Instagram that was showing a neighborhood of houses, but only one of them was in flames. The owner of the house that is burning down is in dire need of help, but instead of taking immediate action, his neighbor's response to the emergency is to say to him that, well, all houses matter. In my opinion, not only is that not helping, it's also making the problem worse. The Black Lives Matter movement is designed to protect all ethnic races and establish equality for all races because all lives are not equally at risk. The reason black is in the title is because malicious killings have been taking place and happening to Black Americans more than any other race and way too often with no accountability. Hence the need to remind some racist individuals in the corporate world and in law enforcement around the world that Black people are just as important as any other. This movement is not leaving anyone out. I find that it's nice to see that this has brought people together to start conversations and take action in order to move things in the right direction. But a lot still needs to happen to erase those inequalities for good. So let's continue to analyze ourselves so we can bring about positive changes. Goodbye for now.